Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The massive ship cut through the darkness of space, its engines humming with power as it approached the third planet from the sun. On the bridge, Captain Rick stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the view screen. "That can't be right," he said, leaning forward. "Run the scan again." Navigator Tala tapped her console with long blue fingers. "I already ran it 3 times, Captain. The readings are correct." She looked up at him, her face troubled. "The planet is covered with artificial structures and energy signatures. There's a civilization down there." Rick shook his head. "Impossible. Our records show only primitive mammals and small groups of early humans when the star seed landed 30,000 years ago." The bridge fell silent as the image on the main screen zoomed in to show sprawling cities, vast networks of roads, and flying vehicles moving through the air. Lights twinkled across the dark side of the planet in complex patterns. Engineer Mako whistled softly. "Those aren't campfires." "How advanced are they?" Rix asked. Science officer Lauren studied his readings. "They've achieved level 6 technology, space travel, global communication networks, advanced computing. They haven't mastered faster than light travel yet, but—" He paused, his expression puzzled. "Some of their technology gives off energy signatures similar to our own." Rix felt a cold sensation run down his spine. The star seed, they found it. Their mission had seemed simple when they departed from the home world. Travel to this backwater planet, recover the scientific survey ship that had gone missing 30,000 years ago, and bring back the valuable scientific data and advanced power source it carried. No one had expected to find an advanced civilization. "Have they detected us?" Rix asked. Tala checked her instruments. "Not yet. Our cloaking shield is holding, Captain." Lauren called out, "I've located the star seed's beacon. It's faint, but it's there." He displayed a map on the screen. "It's under one of their largest cities." Rick studied the map. "We have a problem then. We can't just land and start digging without being noticed." Mako scratched his chin. "We could wait until their night cycle and use a stealth shuttle." "Too risky," Tala countered. "With their level of technology, they detect even a stealth approach." Rix paced the bridge, considering their options. The Star Seed wasn't just a scientific vessel, it contained experimental energy technology that could save their home world from its current crisis. But they hadn't prepared for first contact with an advanced species. They were a small crew on a recovery mission, not diplomats. "I think we need to make contact," Lauren said finally. "Official contact, it's the safest approach." "And what if they're hostile?" Tala asked. Lauren shrugged. "Then we leave and come back with a bigger ship. But if they've had the Star Seed all this time and managed to reverse engineer parts of it, they might be willing to negotiate." Rix made his decision. "Prepare a communication in basic galactic standard. Let's see how they respond." 3 hours later, the bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the humans replied. Not only had they responded, but they had done so using recognizable linguistic patterns based on the aliens' own ancient language. "This is impossible," Tala whispered. "How could they know our language?" Lauren's eyes widened as he analyzed the transmission. "It's not exactly our language, it's derived from it mixed with their own, almost as if." "As if what?" Rix prompted. "As if the crew of the Star Seed taught them," Lauren finished. Mako laughed nervously. "The crew died 30,000 years ago, didn't they?" "We assumed they died because they never returned," Lauren questioned. "But what if they survived and integrated with the early humans?" The human transmission continued, inviting the alien ship to land at a designated facility. They were using terms like "welcome back" and "long-awaited return." "They've been expecting us," Rix realized, "for thousands of years." The landing pad was surrounded by human security forces, but they kept a respectful distance as the alien shuttle touched down. Rix had decided to lead the first contact team himself, bringing Lauren for his scientific expertise and Tala because she insisted the captain shouldn't go alone. As the shuttle door opened, Rix got his first close look at modern humans. They stood taller than he expected, dressed in formal attire that suggested both respect and authority. One stepped forward, a male with graying hair and confident posture. "I am Dr. Tom Reed, director of Earth's First Contact Protocol," the human said, speaking slowly and clearly. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome our ancient visitors." Rick stepped forward. I am Captain Rix of the recovery vessel Horizon. We are here to retrieve our ship, the Star Seed, which was lost on your planet approximately 30,000 of your years ago. Dr. Reed smiled. We've been protecting it for you. Rix exchanged looks with his crew, protecting it. Please come with us, Dr. Reed said, gesturing toward a nearby building. There's much to discuss. Inside, they were led to a conference room where other humans waited. Dr. Reed introduced them. Major Jack Stone, our military liaison, Professor Anna Wells, our xenolinguistics expert, and Ben Pfizer, our engineering specialist. Professor Wells spoke up eagerly. We've studied your language for centuries. It forms the root of many of our ancient texts. Impossible, Tala said. Not your ship, Ben Fisher clarified. The other one's the one that came before. Dr. Reed activated a display screen showing ancient cave paintings. The images clearly depicted beings with 4 eyes and blue skin interacting with early humans. We call it the visitor site, Reed explained. It was discovered during an archaeological dig 400 years ago. Since then, we've been studying the artifacts and technology left behind. Much of our technological development was accelerated by what we learned. You've been inside the Starseed, Rix asked, alarmed. Major Stone crossed his arms. Parts of it, the ship was damaged in what appears to have been a crash landing. Some areas remain sealed. We need to recover that ship immediately, Rix insisted. I'm afraid that's complicated, Dr. Reed replied. The visitor site is now located beneath one of our most densely populated cities. Accessing it will require careful planning. Rix felt a surge of frustration. That ship is our property. And it's been on our world for 30,000 years, Major Stone countered. Some would argue possession is 9/10 of the law. Professor Wells stepped in before tensions could rise further. Perhaps we can reach a compromise, a joint team to investigate the site together. Lauren touched Rix's arm. Captain, if humans have adapted our technology, they might have insights we never considered. This could be valuable. Rix studied the humans carefully. They didn't seem hostile, but they clearly weren't going to hand over the Star Seed without conditions. And they knew too much already. Something was very strange about this whole situation. Very well, he said finally. A joint team, but we need to begin immediately. As they left the conference room to make arrangements, Rix couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story. Why had the original crew never sent a distress signal? And how had primitive humans learned to understand alien language and technology so quickly? The answers, he suspected, lay inside the Star Seed itself. And those answers might change everything his people thought they knew about themselves and humanity. The next morning, a small convoy of vehicles traveled through the busy streets of the city. Captain Rix watched from the window as humans went about their daily lives, some stopping to stare at the unusual vehicles with government markings. They don't know about us yet, Dr. Reed explained, noticing Rix's interest. The government decided to keep your arrival quiet until we've had more time to talk. Wise, Rix replied. News of alien visitors might cause panic, Major Stone grunted from the front seat. Or celebration. People have different reactions to finding out they're not alone in the universe. The convoy stopped at a large building surrounded by a high fence. Guards checked their credentials before allowing them to enter an underground parking area. Welcome to the Visitor Site Research Facility, Dr. Reed said as they stepped out of the vehicles. We've been studying the artifacts found here for generations. They entered an elevator that descended deep underground. When the doors opened, Rix and his crew found themselves in a vast laboratory space. Humans in white coats worked at various stations, examining objects that clearly weren't of Earth origin. Science Officer Lauren gasped. Those are our tools: medical scanners, data tablets, atmospheric analyzers. Professor Wells nodded excitedly. Yes, we've managed to get some of them working, but others remain a mystery. Perhaps you could help us understand their purpose. Perhaps, Rick said carefully, but first we need to see the ship. Dr. Reed led them through a secure door and down a long corridor. At the end was a massive chamber carved from the bedrock, and there, partially embedded in the stone, was the Star Seed. The survey ship was smaller than the Horizon but had once been sleek and powerful. Now its hull was damaged, with evidence of repairs made using primitive materials. Ancient human markings covered parts of the exterior. Engineer Mako approached the ship reverently. She's been through a lot, but the main structure is intact. He ran his hand along the hull. These repairs, they're surprisingly effective for the technology that would have been available. Your ancestors were resourceful, Ben Fisher said, joining him, and they had good teachers. Rix turned to Dr. Reed. What happened to the crew? Reed gestured to a display case nearby. According to our oldest records, they called themselves the Sky People. They taught early humans many things: agriculture, tool-making, astronomy. This tablet is our most important artifact. Inside the case was an ancient stone tablet covered with symbols that were part alien script, part early human writing. Professor Wells translated. It says, "We who came from the stars choose to remain with the people of Earth. Our ship is damaged beyond repair, but our knowledge lives on in those we teach. When our brothers and sisters return from the stars, tell them we found a new home." Rix felt a chill run through him. They chose to stay. They integrated with early human populations, Reed explained. They became teachers, leaders, and eventually ancestors to many of us. Navigator Tala shook her head in disbelief. That's impossible. Our species are too different to interbreed. Professor Wells smiled. Actually, genetic analysis suggests otherwise. The crew of the Star Seed were genetic engineers. We believe they modified themselves to become compatible with humans. That's why you could understand elements of our language, Lauren realized, and why you've been able to work with our technology. Major Stone crossed his arms. It also means the ship and everything in it belongs to humanity by inheritance. Your crew left it to us. Jack, Dr. Reed warned, we agreed to cooperation, not confrontation. Rix ignored the tension and focused on the ship. We need to access the data core. It contains valuable scientific information and answers about what happened. We've never been able to access the central chamber, Ben Fisher admitted. The door mechanisms are still active, requiring some kind of biological key we don't possess. I can open it, Rix said. That's standard protocol. Any captain-level officer can access another ship's core in an emergency. 2 hours later, they stood before the sealed door to the Star Seed's command center. The human and alien technical teams had worked together to restore power to this section of the ship. Ready, Captain? Mako asked, checking the final connections. Rix nodded and placed his hand on the ancient scanner. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the panel glowed blue and the door slowly opened with a hiss of escaping air. Atmospheric seal was intact, Lauren noted with surprise. The core should be preserved. They entered the command center carefully. Despite the passage of time, the room was largely intact. Dust covered the control panels, but the central data core glowed faintly, still powered after all these years. Remarkable engineering, Ben Fisher whispered. Rix approached the main console and activated it with his command codes. The screens flickered to life, displaying text in the alien's language. I'll need time to download and analyze the data, Rix said as the download began. Professor Wells studied the wall displays. These look like star charts, she said, pointing to one screen. Is that your home system? Lauren joined her. Yes, that's our home world, Tyros, the third planet in the Vega system. Vega? Professor Wells looked shocked. We call that star Vega 2. It's only 25 light-years from Earth. We're neighbors, cosmically speaking. Lauren agreed. Suddenly the main screen changed, displaying a recorded message. A face similar to Rix's but with subtle differences appeared. This is Captain Kale of the survey vessel Starseed, the recording began. If you are viewing this, then you are from our home world and have finally come looking for us. The humans and aliens gathered around, listening intently as the long-dead captain explained their situation. Our experimental drive system malfunctioned during our survey mission. We crash-landed on this planet with no way to repair our FTL drive. The native species here, called humans, are primitive but show remarkable potential. Rather than wait for a rescue that might never come, we have decided to live among them and share our knowledge. Captain Kale's expression became solemn. We know this goes against non-interference protocols, but the alternative was to watch these people struggle through millennia of development when we could help them advance. We've chosen to become part of their story. Dr. Reed looked at Rix. Your people had a policy of non-interference too. Yes, Rix replied, troubled by the implications, to prevent exactly this kind of situation. Accelerating a species' development can have unforeseen consequences. The recording continued. There is something else you should know. The experimental energy core that powered our ship is unstable. We've sealed it in a containment chamber, but it cannot be moved safely. Any attempt to remove it could result in a catastrophic release of energy. Rix and Major Stone exchanged concerned looks. That's the technology we came to recover, Rix admitted. Our home world is facing an energy crisis. We believe the Starseed's experimental core could help solve it. And you didn't think to mention this earlier, Major Stone demanded. Before Rix could respond, an alarm sounded from the console. The screen flashed with warning symbols. What's happening? Dr. Reed asked. Mako studied the readings, his expression grave. The containment field around the energy core is degrading. It has been for centuries, but our activating the ship's systems has accelerated the process. What does that mean? Major Stone demanded. Rix and Mako exchanged a grim look before Rix answered. It means if we don't find a solution quickly, this energy core could destroy your entire city. Alarms continued to blare throughout the command center as the humans and aliens stared at the warning displays. How bad is it? Dr. Reed asked, his voice steady despite the crisis. Engineer Mako studied the readings. The containment field is at 87% and dropping slowly. We have time, but not much. Major Stone immediately pulled out his communication device. I need to inform my superiors. We may need to evacuate the area. Wait, Rick said, let's not cause panic yet. There might be a way to stabilize the core. Ben Fisher leaned over the console. What kind of energy are we talking about? Nuclear, something else? It's a quantum compression core, Mako explained. It creates energy by compressing matter into an ultra-dense state. If the containment fails completely, the compressed matter will expand violently. Like a bomb, Major Stone said grimly. Worse, Mako replied, more like a small sun forming for a split second. Professor Wells looked horrified. How big an area would be affected? The entire city at minimum, Rix admitted, possibly more. Dr. Reed took charge of the situation. We need to see this containment chamber now. They followed the ship's schematics deep into the Starseed, past areas that had been partially excavated by human archaeologists over the centuries. The path took them through narrow passages where the ship had been crushed by Earth movements over time. The ship is more damaged than I thought, Mako said, examining the structural supports. It's amazing it's held together this long. Our ancestors built a stone structure around it, Ben explained. They treated it as a sacred place for thousands of years. Later, people built temples and eventually buildings above it, never knowing what was actually buried here. Science officer Lauren noticed something on the wall. Look at this. He pointed to ancient paintings showing blue-skinned, four-eyed beings standing alongside humans. The alien figures held what appeared to be tools and were pointing to the stars. These are all over the excavation site, Professor Wells said. They show the sky people teaching humans about agriculture, tool-making, astronomy. Lauren traced the images with his finger. They didn't just teach you technology, they taught you how to develop it yourselves. They continued deeper into the ship until they reached a sealed door marked with warning symbols. The control panel beside it flickered weakly. This is it, Rick said, the core chamber. Mako connected his portable device to the ancient panel. The security protocols are still active. It needs both Captain's authorization and engineering override. Can you bypass it? Major Stone asked. Mako shook his head, not without risking further damage to the containment field. Rix placed his hand on the scanner. I'll use my Captain's codes first. The panel flickered, then glowed greens. It's now your turn, Mako. The engineer entered his override sequence, and the heavy door slowly slid open. Inside was a chamber dominated by a glowing blue sphere suspended in an energy field. Surrounding it was equipment clearly designed by humans attempting to understand and maintain the alien technology. This is it, Mako whispered, the experimental quantum compression core. Ben Fisher approached the human equipment. We've been monitoring it for centuries but never fully understood what we were dealing with. We just knew it was powerful and dangerous. Mako examined the readouts. Your monitoring systems are impressive, considering your technology level. You've actually been helping to maintain the containment field without realizing it. Ben looked surprised. We have. Yes, Mako nodded. These devices you built are channeling excess energy away from the core. Without them, it would have destabilized centuries ago. For the first time, Rix felt genuine respect for the humans. Your ancestors were taught well, and you've improved on their knowledge. So how do we fix it? Dr. Reed asked, bringing them back to the crisis at hand. Mako studied the core carefully. The original containment field was designed to last a century at most. Your ancestors managed to extend it 30 times longer using hybrid technology, but now it's finally breaking down. Can we move it? Major Stone asked. Get it away from the city. No, Mako and Ben said simultaneously. Mako continued, any attempt to move it would collapse the field immediately. Then we need to establish a new containment field, Rix decided. Lauren looked doubtful. With what? We don't have the necessary equipment on the horizon. But we might be able to build something, Ben suggested, using both our technologies together. Mako's eyes widened as he understood. Yes, your people have been innovating with our technology for thousands of years. You've developed applications we never considered. We need to excavate more of the ship, Rick said. The engineering section might contain materials we can use. For the next 3 days, humans and aliens worked side by side to carefully uncover more of the buried starship. The city above remained unaware of the danger beneath their feet, though rumors of archaeological discoveries brought curious onlookers to the perimeter of the site. As they dug deeper, they discovered not just the ship but an entire settlement built around it, the oldest human city ever found. The evidence of cooperation between the stranded aliens and early humans was everywhere. Look at this, Professor Wells called out on the third day. She had uncovered a sealed room filled with artifacts, tools that were clearly a hybrid of alien design and human materials. These are teaching tools, Lauren realized as he examined them, designed specifically to help humans understand complex concepts with the materials available to them. Nearby, Mako and Ben made their own discovery in what remained of the ship's engineering bay. These are backup power modules, Mako said excitedly. They're damaged, but the superconductor material is still intact. Ben studied them carefully. We could use these to build a new containment field generator. They brought their findings to the command center, which had become their headquarters. Dr. Reed and Rix were reviewing the ship's logs, trying to learn more about the original crew. Find anything useful? Rix asked as Mako and Ben entered. Yes, Mako replied. We have a potential solution for the containment field, but we'll need more equipment from our ship, and we'll need to adapt it using some Earth technology. Our power systems are different from yours, Ben added, but we've been working with derivatives of your technology for so long we might be able to create something new. Dr. Reed nodded, whatever you need, you'll have it. As they discussed the technical details, Professor Wells burst into the room, her face flushed with excitement. You need to see this, she said breathlessly. We found a data core in the settlement ruins. It contains DNA records of the original crew and the humans they lived with. Lauren's eyes widened. Let me see. They gathered around as she played the recording. It showed the alien crew performing medical procedures on themselves, genetically modifying their own bodies. They were changing their genetic structure to be compatible with humans, Lauren explained. But why? The next part of the recording answered his question. It showed human and alien children playing together, hybrid children with features from both species. They didn't just teach us, Professor Wells said softly, they became us. Rick stared at the images, understanding dawning on him. That's why you were able to understand elements of our language and technology. You're not just our students. You're our descendants, Tala finished, her voice filled with wonder. The implications hung in the air as both species faced a truth neither had expected. They weren't just allies in the current crisis, they were family. The mood in the command center had changed. Humans and aliens looked at each other differently now, seeing family resemblances they had missed before. But the celebration of their shared heritage was short-lived. Major Stone burst into the room, his face tense. We have a problem. Someone leaked information about the alien ship to the media. It's all over the news. Doctor. Reed turned on a screen showing news reports with blurry images of the excavation site and wild speculation about what had been found. That's not all, Major Stone continued. My superiors want me to secure the energy core technology. They're sending a team to take control of the site. Take control, Rix asked, his voice sharp. The core is unstable. Any interference could trigger a catastrophe. Major Stone looked uncomfortable. They believe the risk is worth it. The energy technology could solve Earth's power problems for centuries. And potentially destroy your city if mishandled, Rix countered. Dr. Reed stepped between them. Jack, you know this is a mistake. We need to focus on containing the core, not exploiting it. I agree with you, Major Stone admitted. But General West doesn't. He's been pushing for military control of alien technology since we found the first artifacts. Now he has the perfect excuse. When will they arrive? Dr. Reed asked. Within the hour, and I've been ordered to secure the core chamber until they get here. A tense silence fell over the room. Rix observed the conflicted expression on Major Stone's face and made a decision. Major, I understand duty, but right now your duty is to protect your people from a threat they don't fully understand. Stone met Rix's four eyes unflinchingly. And how do I know you won't take this technology back to your home world once we've stabilized it? Rix hadn't considered that possibility. The mission had always been to recover the experimental core for his people. But now, looking at these humans who shared his ancestors' DNA, the mission seemed less clear. I don't know, he admitted honestly, but right now our priority must be preventing a disaster. Before Stone could respond, Ben Fisher burst into the room. The containment field just dropped to 72%. The degradation is accelerating. In the core chamber, Mako and Ben worked frantically to assemble the new containment system. They had cannibalized parts from the Horizon shuttle and combined them with Earth technology in ways neither would have imagined possible a week ago. Hand me that superconductor coil, Mako said, his blue fingers moving with precision despite the pressure. Ben passed him the component. This might actually work. The quantum alignment is holding. Your people have done remarkable things with our technology, Mako observed. Some of these adaptations, we never thought of using materials this way. Necessity breeds innovation, Ben replied with a shrug. When you only have pieces of advanced technology, you learn to fill in the gaps creatively. Their work was interrupted by shouting from the corridor outside. The door slid open, revealing a group of armed soldiers led by an older human in a military uniform decorated with medals. General West, Major Stone said stiffly, stepping forward from where he had been watching the engineers work. Major, the general nodded. I'll take it from here. He surveyed the room, his gaze lingering on Mako. So these are our visitors. They're helping us stabilize the core, Stone explained. And then what? West asked. They take it back to their world? I don't think so. He turned to his soldiers. Secure the chamber. No one touches anything without my authorization. Dr. Reed stepped forward. General, you don't understand. The core is unstable if we don't complete the new containment field. My scientists will handle it, West interrupted. They've been studying this technology for years. Not like this, Ben protested. We're dealing with an active power source, not artifacts. The general ignored him. Secure the aliens, we'll debrief them thoroughly about this technology. As soldiers moved toward Mako, Rix and Tala entered the chamber. Seeing the situation, Rix stepped between Mako and the soldiers. This is a mistake, he said firmly. Your weapons won't help against a quantum energy release. General West studied Rix with cold eyes. Captain, your ship and its technology are now under Earth's protection. We'll ensure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. The wrong hands? Tala asked incredulously. It's our technology, West countered. Found on our planet and apparently left by your people who chose to become part of our world. The argument was cut short by a sudden alarm from the core monitoring system. The blue glow of the energy sphere pulsed brightly, and the containment field visibly flickered. It's destabilizing, Mako shouted, everyone out. Instead of fleeing, Mako and Ben rushed to the half-assembled containment system. General West barked orders to his men, some of whom began to retreat while others raised their weapons in confusion. Stop, Dr. Reed shouted. Your bullets could trigger the very thing we're trying to prevent. In the chaos, no one noticed a soldier accidentally bump against the ancient control panel. Suddenly, the original containment field shut down completely. The blue sphere began to expand. Get down, Mako yelled, diving toward the new containment device. His fingers flew across the controls, activating the emergency systems they had just finished installing. The sphere continued to grow, its light becoming blindingly bright. Heat filled the chamber as the quantum compressed matter began to expand. Ben pushed past the soldiers to reach Mako's side. The field generator isn't aligned. Together they worked the controls while everyone else took cover. The blue sphere pulsed dangerously, now twice its original size. "It's not working," Ben shouted. "The integration circuits are overloading." Mako made a split-second decision. He reached into the control panel and physically rearranged the circuits with his bare hands. Pain seared through him as energy coursed up his arms, but he held on, completing the connection. The new containment field snapped into place just as the sphere reached critical expansion. For a terrifying moment, it seemed the field would fail. Then the sphere began to shrink, slowly at first, then more rapidly as the field stabilized. When it was over, Mako collapsed to the floor, his blue skin charred black in places. Ben wasn't much better, having grabbed Mako to pull him away once the field activated. "Medic," Stone shouted, all military protocol forgotten as he rushed to help. Rix knelt beside Mako. "You fool," he said softly, "you brave fool." Mako managed a weak smile. Did it work? Ben, despite his injuries, checked the readings. "Yes, the field is holding at 98%, you did it." Dr. Reed turned to General West, who stood shocked by what he had witnessed. "Do you understand now? This isn't about who owns what technology. It's about working together to handle something that could destroy us all." The general looked at the injured alien who had just saved them all, then at his human counterpart who had worked alongside him without hesitation. "Stand down," he ordered his men, "and get these two to medical." As Mako and Ben were carefully moved onto stretchers, Rix approached the general. "Your people surprise me," Rix said quietly. "You fight among yourselves even in the face of disaster, yet you're capable of incredible selflessness and innovation." "We're complicated," West admitted, "but I recognize bravery when I see it." He looked at the now stable energy core. "So what happens now, Captain?" Rix looked around at the humans and aliens working side by side. "Now we learn from each other, as our ancestors did." 3 weeks after the containment crisis, the excavation site had transformed. What began as a secretive dig was now an open collaboration between humans and aliens. The governments of Earth had revealed the truth to their citizens. Aliens had visited Earth 30,000 years ago, and they had returned. In the medical facility near the excavation site, Mako sat up in his bed, his blue skin showing new patches where he was healing. Ben occupied the bed next to him, his arms wrapped in regenerative bandages. "Are the new containment fields holding?" Mako asked as Rix and Dr. Reed entered the room. "Stable at 99%, Rix replied. "Your design worked perfectly." Ben smiled weakly. "Our design." Dr. Reed checked Ben's medical chart. "The doctors say you'll both make a full recovery. The cellular regeneration techniques from the Horizons Medical Bay have accelerated your healing significantly." "And what about the core?" Ben asked. "Have you decided what to do with it?" Rix and Dr. Reed exchanged looks. "That's what we came to discuss," Rix said. "We've reached a decision." Later that day, they gathered in the conference room. Major Stone was there, looking more relaxed than he had in weeks. General West attended as well, his previous hostility replaced by cautious respect. The full teams from both Earth and the Horizon were present. Captain Rick stood at the front of the room, his posture formal. "After extensive examination, we've determined that the Star Seed cannot be salvaged. The damage sustained during its crash landing, combined with thousands of years of geological pressures, has compromised its structural integrity beyond repair." "And the energy core?" General West asked. "The core remains stable in its new containment field," Rix continued, "but attempting to move it would still be catastrophic. It must remain here, carefully monitored." Dr. Reed stepped forward. "We've established a joint research team to study the core safely. The goal is to understand its principles without risking another containment failure." Professor Wells raised her hand. "What about the historical data, the records of your crew's integration with early humans?" Science Officer Lauren answered, "We've recovered approximately 83% of the ship's data. It confirms what we suspected. The crew of the Starseed genetically modified themselves to become compatible with humans. They became your ancestors, which makes this situation unique in our history." "I was sent to recover technology," Rix added, "but I found something far more important, a lost branch of our family." Navigator Tala, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. We've sent a full report to our home world. They were surprised, to say the least. And what was their response? Major Stone asked, the tension returning to his voice. Rick smiled. They want to establish formal relations with Earth, not as advanced beings discovering a primitive world, but as relatives reuniting after a long separation. A murmur of excitement spread through the room. There's more, Rix continued. I've made a decision about the Starseeds technology database. The room fell silent. The original mission was to recover the experimental core technology to help solve our world's energy crisis. Since we cannot safely move the core, I've decided to share our complete technological database with humanity instead. General West looked shocked. Your entire database, why would you do that? Because it's already partly yours, Rix explained. Your people have been developing applications of our technology for thousands of years. Some of your innovations are beyond what our world has achieved. By sharing knowledge openly, both our worlds can benefit. Dr. Reed looked concerned. Are you authorized to make that decision? As captain of the Horizon, I have discretion in first contact situations, Rix replied. And there's precedent. The crew of the Starseed chose to share their knowledge with early humans. I'm simply continuing their legacy. So what happens now? Ben asked from his wheelchair in the corner of the room. Engineer Mako, also in a wheelchair, answered him.